This episode of Titan Talk, the Titans podcast, is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Do you know a podcast fan? Are you wondering what to get them for Christmas? Tweaked Audio headphones make the perfect gift. You can get awesome headphones by going to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get not 10, not 20, but 30% off. Not low cost shipping, but free shipping and a lifetime warranty. This is amazing. You can also get there through the website southgatemediagroup.com. Follow the link on our website. Go there. Tell them that Charles and Jesse sent you and to say, Go Titans.
Titans, go!
The Titans podcast, your one-stop shopping for all news about the Titans series on DC Universe. I'm Charles Skaggs, back in Titans Tower once again with my favorite Titan talker, everybody's favorite Titan talker, who's a little under the weather today, Jesse Jackson.
That's right. I'm playing injured.
You
but
are.
I am thrilled to be with my favorite Titan talker, Charles Skaggs. Hey, Charles. We're recording this on Thanksgiving weekend. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. How about you? Did you and Linda have a good Thanksgiving?
We did. We both are fighting a cold, but we had a good time.
Right.
And I was actually a couple minutes late to our recording time because I was finishing up the next to last episode of Star Trek Discovery.
Yes.
Because I've decided that I'm going to binge that this weekend.
Are you enjoying it, I hope?
I am. You gave the perfect example. You said once they get past the weird-looking Klingons,
yes,
they really get rolling. And I think that is a perfect I do not understand, and I promise we will get off this.
Yeah, well, this is not a Star Trek podcast.
But I do not understand why every time they redo Star Trek, they have to jack with how Klingons look.
I think everybody just wants to make their mark.
Yeah, they just we have new special effects, and now then we can do makeup, and it's just dumb. The other thing I don't like is we get it. When two Klingons are talking to each other, they're speaking Klingon. You don't have to go subtitles all the time, though. We understand. We're smart enough to know that the only reason it's English is because it's a TV show. But we'll let it go.
All right. Okay, so back to Titans now.
Absolutely. Anyway, yes, it was been a fun weekend, and but I did take a time away from my binge to watch Asylum.
Yes.
And I overall pretty happy with it.
Okay. All right. So, we're obviously going to talk about Asylum. That's the 7th episode of Titans Season 1. That aired or was released just a few days ago on November 23rd, 2018, a.k.a. the 55th anniversary of Doctor Who, but that's a different podcast that we do.
Yes.
And this was written by Brian Edward Hill, who wrote the episode Together, and Greg Walker, who wrote the episode Origins. So we do have some recurring Titans writers now. Directed by Alex Kalimnios. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. I believe I did, but who is a first-time director on Titans. And so overall, you kind of like this episode.
Yeah, I have one area that I want to nitpick, but overall, I thought it was a good ending, a good episode with a great ending. So yeah, I really liked it.
You were very happy with the ending. That's good.
Was, and I have a confession to make, Charles.
Uh-oh. Well, I'll give you 2 Hail Marys and no,
yeah.
just.
I I normally do not sit through the full episode. The moment the credits start, I hit stop and move on. And this time,
but you have the trailer at the end.
I did not know that until
they've been
this
daring
very
it all
episode.
season.
I did not know that, and so I was like, "Hey, I've been missing." That's very cool.
Yeah, they do that, and that's a great trailer, which I want to talk about when we talk about what we're going to talk about next week, because that's a big deal in our household, obviously.
Absolutely.
As you can probably guess. But so the topics I want to talk about before we get started, I want to talk about Rachel and Gar first, and then I want to talk about Dick and Corey, and then I want to talk about Dr. Adamson, a.k.a. the Messenger, and Angela, Raven's mom, who we meet for the first time. So if that sounds good to you, we'll talk about those topics.
That sounds perfect.
Okay, so guest cast this week, we have the return, and probably, I'm guessing, maybe the last time we're going to see Reed Birney as the Messenger, maybe this time. Of course, we thought he's been dead before.
Yes.
And but this time it seems pretty positive, at least this time he's dead. He returns as the Messenger, a.k.a. Dr. Adamson. And then we get the debut of Rachel Nichols as Angela Azarath, who I'm guessing is a version of Angela Roth, a.k.a. Arella, a.k.a. Raven's mom. And so this is kind of a big casting, because if you're at all familiar with Rachel Nichols, if you are a fan of the TV show Alias, she played a notable character by the name of Rachel Gibson. And she was also recently in the 2009 Star Trek movie as Gala, Uhura's Green Orion roommate, who kind of lounges around in her underwear rather conveniently. So if you remember her there. Or if you're a fan, as I was, of the sci-fi series Continuum, that she played a character named Kira Cameron, the lead character on that show. So if you're a fan of Continuum, that's probably where you know her from as well. So Jesse, were you familiar with this actress?
I did. In fact, I recognized her face and was trying to determine where I remembered her from. She also was recently on The Librarians. But I specifically remember from Continuum, which was a series I mostly enjoyed, though I think they got a little too timey-wimey and wanted to be too clever upon themselves. But yes, it was good.
Yeah,
she was very good.
I think it was one of those series that started off really good in its first couple seasons and then got overly convoluted as it progressed.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and I actually didn't recognize her until I saw her name in the credits. I'm like, oh my god, that was Rachel Nichols. Holy crap.
Yeah, so, her face I knew, like, I know her from somewhere.
Right.
And I had to look. So yeah, she's a great actress, and really added some depth to this role. I thought that was a good call.
Yeah, and we also get the return of Tomaso Sanelli as Young Dick Grayson, who we're seeing surprisingly a lot of this season. I didn't think we would see much of him, but we are, in one form or another. Here he's kind of like a hallucination that Dick experiences.
Which is the part I did not like.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that when we talk about Dick and Corey. So save that rant for that segment. All right.
But I will say that this I am interested in seeing a little more. I wouldn't mind a spin-off of a younger Dick Grayson. I mean, an actual give us a little mini series.
Give this actor like his own like Young Dick Grayson Chronicles series.
Yeah, I don't know if you could hold it up, though. When you talk about that would be a really cool series.
Yes, it would.
But I just liked him. I think he's very charismatic and really does a great job.
Yeah.
So I think it would be very cool to see him.
Yep. Call me, DC Universe. I'm available to write that series just in case.
You could write the heck out of that series.
I would try. I would give it my best shot.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But all right, so let's get into our main topics. And I was kind of trying to come up with a theme for this week, And I decided I thought I'd go with some Arkham Asylum titles. So
nice.
because of the episode being Asylum. Now where this is set isn't Arkham Asylum. It's some unnamed asylum. But I thought that I was kind of looking for a connection, and the title of the episode is Asylum. So I figured, well, let's go with Arkham Asylum related titles. So first topic I want to talk about is A Serious House on Serious Earth, which is a reference to the Arkham Asylum graphic novel by Grant Morrison and Dave McKeon, which is a kind of a classic graphic novel, highly recommended, very powerful, very dark, and definitely recommended by me.
Okay.
But I want to talk about Rachel and Gar, because this episode is essentially centered around Rachel, Raven, and there's a lot going on with her because she obviously encounters her mom for the first time, her true mom, and she has a good little confrontation with Dr. Adamson, who in a very creepy kind of Dr. Lecter vibe, but she kind of works with Beast Boy in this episode, where they take an Uber and they go off and they go in search of Raven's mother. So I want to get your thoughts on Rachel and Gar in this episode.
They continue to have great chemistry. I like them together. I think it was very interesting that Gar, to protect Rachel, he kind of went to a new level with his powers. In the past he had talked about changing to the tiger but not really embracing everything that the tiger could do. And in this case, he gave in to the beast. I mean, he was mauling and,
That was a very traumatic experience, wasn't it? Because he had talked about how he'd never bitten anybody before.
Yeah.
And here, because of being tortured with a cattle prod, let's just face it, he was tortured. He was stripped naked and tortured in this cage like an animal. And he finally succumbed to his animal side.
And I think partly because to protect Rachel. I think that was also. I think it wasn't just out of revenge. It was.
Is it just more instinctual?
Yeah, I think that he had to do this because protecting someone that he cares about. Absolutely. I love the banter back and forth. It's a federal crime to steal somebody's Uber or something.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I don't think it is. And he, his optimism shines through. I just really like them together.
And because they're essentially, the way this show is kind of structured itself, it's Dick and Corey as the older Titans, and Gar and Rachel as the younger Titans. And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
But these two definitely have this bond, and I'm sure that Gar crushes on Raven. The question is whether it's reciprocated or not.
I think so. I think she's just got other things on her mind.
Well, understandably, right now. Yeah. Her plate's a little full at the moment.
Yeah, I do think they are very much liking each other. It's fun to watch them interact together, and it's kind of funny. There was a point where Rachel says to Gar toward the end of the episode, we have to go to, she says, Dick and Corey.
Yes.
But it almost sounded like we have to get to Aunt Corey. And I knew that wasn't right, so I backed up the episode. I backed up the
rewound.
I rewound it and heard that. But I went. That felt good because it does feel like, and it's not aunt and uncle, it's big brother and big sister.
Yes.
Along with them.
So there's definitely that kind of familial connection between them. Yes. I think. Yeah, one scene I really liked in particular, um, where there was that scene just after Dick and Corey had kind of told Raven, no, we're not going to do this. It's too dangerous. It's obviously a trap.
Yeah.
And Gar kind of goes along with Dick and Corey, which makes Rachel feel really hurt and betrayed. So Gar ends up going, she goes off alone, and then he goes and knocks on the glass, which I thought was kind of funny because all these walls are glass that kind of pung, pung, pung. And he goes in and he talks to her and basically says, look, I just told them what they wanted to hear because it's easier that way. People leave you alone if you agree with them. So I thought that was kind of interesting that, he talks about how because of his relationship with Dr. Calder, the chief in the Doom Patrol, that because of his manipulations, he's kind of adopted this mentality like, yeah, whatever, chief, I'll go along with whatever you say, even though privately I'm going to feel differently. And so now he's saying that, look, I'm loyal to you. Like, I just told them a story. What do you think about that scene?
I agree with you. That was such a powerful scene because it's a very cynical scene.
Right.
That
it is kind of a cynical viewpoint from Beast Boy.
Yeah, but it makes perfect sense. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to waste my time trying to convince you to see things different or to convince you that I'm right. I'm just going to agree with you, and then you'll leave me alone so I can do whatever I want.
Right.
Very practical, very smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, so very good.
Yeah, and so you can kind of get an idea about this kind of jaded viewpoint, which obviously because of interacting with the chief, who we know is a master manipulator.
Yes.
And kind of like controlling type personality, that it's obviously kind of skewed Gar's viewpoint on life a little bit, which is a little sad, and hopefully he'll come out of that. But
absolutely.
Yeah, maybe he will. But I just thought it was really good. And we've talked about Gar with being his animal side taking over. So anything else about these two characters before we move on?
I can't think of anything else.
Okay, all right. Because some of the stuff we want to save for with Raven, we want to talk about her mother later. So
yes,
let's move on to topic number 2, and that's I'm going to call Living Hell, which is a reference to an Arkham Asylum miniseries by Arkham Asylum Living Hell by Dan Slott, who's famous for Marvel Comics.
Okay.
He just came off a very long run of Amazing Spider-Man. Now he's writing Fantastic Four and Tony Stark Iron Man for Marvel.
Okay.
And also Ryan Sook, the artist on that series, who's a pretty solid artist whose work I enjoy. And I want to talk about Dick and Corey because Dick especially, and Corey really, they're both kind of put through a living hell in this episode. They're both tortured pretty severely.
Yes.
Dick gets drugged heavily and is forced to confront his younger self, which I'm gathering you have a rant about. And Corey, she's kind of left in isolation in this kind of like well type prison. And left to unleash all her powers until she basically runs out of charge. And then she's brought to an operating table and cut open. So she gets it pretty bad as well in this episode. So I want to get your thoughts on the kind of torture that these two characters experience in this episode.
So I found the drugged seeing your younger self.
Yes.
Just a little, I hate to say cliche, but it did not feel very original. It didn't feel very new, and it actually wasn't done that well. If you're going to go, and this is a mini rant, if you're going to go to something that is so cliche, you've got to do it a little different. And I think they've done a better job of him trying to put aside his past.
Yeah.
In other ways, and so by having it just to, see his younger self was a little spot on. So I didn't care for that. In fact, that made me shrink my grade by a half a point.
Okay. Now I did kind of set up some stuff at the end of the episode. Where,
yep. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, because the way I saw that sequence was that essentially Dick's forced to confront himself. And there was some, I thought, some valid plot points, because younger Dick is telling his older self, look, you keep blaming Bruce, you keep blaming, Zuko, and the reason that you're acting the way you're acting is because of what you've done to us. So I think it's kind of like forcing some self-examination a little bit, that maybe like this caused Dick to like, okay, maybe I'm lashing out at the wrong people, and we'll see where it goes. We'll see if it actually has any lasting impact. But if it's done correctly,
yeah,
it would kind of get Dick off, his little hang up over Bruce, and go, look, it's not Bruce's fault. It's because I let things go the way they are. It's my fault.
And what I viewed it as,
that's the way I took it.
Yeah, at the end when he says, "I've got this," and we have a masterful fight scene, and where Dick is fighting his internal demons and just embracing to protect his friends,
right?
And seeing the
like when he unloads on those guys,
yeah,
he's like, look, everybody just step back, I've got this. Like maybe he had to get some rage out of his system.
Yeah, that's what I took that at. And then when Charles, you can't start a fire without a spark.
Yeah,
and
as
this
Billy
goes
Joel
for
said.
Hired, especially when
dancing,
you're dancing in the dark.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I thought when he says, do you hear that? It only takes a spark. Right. When they burning down the house to go Talking Heads, and when you see his Robin costume burning, and he sees in the little puddle his face with the domino mask.
Right.
It's truly, in my mind, he truly was time to put away that persona. Right. There's that when as a child, I act as a child, and when we became adult, it was time to put away childish things. Not that Robin was a childish thing, but he knew that part of his life was over. So I don't think we needed the self-reflection to get there, but if it helped other readers or viewers to get that way, I'm fine with it. I just personally don't think we needed it. And as I said, this was a really great episode, so this is a very, very minor nitpick. I loved how Dick is, we've talked about this, and I think they've shown it even more. This first season, as well as us building our team,
right?
This is the journey of Dick Grayson leaving Robin and becoming
Nightwing, right.
Now, we know the ending before it's happening, but if we had not, and we think back about when we read these original Titan issues, we did not know he was become Nightwing. We weren't sure what was going to happen when he left his Robin persona and he was just Dick Grayson. This has been a great journey, and I think a really good they've shown more than just, I'm tired of being in Batman's shadow. I'm tired of being a sidekick. They have shown, for whatever reason, and if it is Dick's choice to embrace the violence of this, being Robin is bad for him.
Right.
He has
just some bad memories associated with it.
Yeah, and there are. It has almost been corrupted to him. and another Robin could not necessarily be corrupted, though Jason Todd is not a good example.
Right.
So I have loved that part of the story, and I've loved this image of him helping his friends, saying, I got this, working through the rage. The other point you asked about is Corey.
Yes.
I knew what they were doing when they kept making her explode.
Yes.
Like, they're just wanting to drain her. They're wanting to drain the battery down. I thought that was really well done. You know, we did not mention, and I did not know this, but the nurse in the show is an actress called Rachel Crawford.
Okay.
And
the scientist. That's
yeah. And she was in Continuum 2 as a character named Catherine.
I didn't catch that. But you're right.
Just IMDb only. She was the Asylum doctor. She was really good playing the kind of, and not so much evil doctor, but I love when they're, and this is a cliche too, they have no morality. It's just science to them. They just want to see what we can do.
They just don't care. Like, she's very amoral about it.
Yes, absolutely.
That she just is more interested in the scientific curiosity than the fact that she's carving into a living being.
Yeah.
So,
but it was great. I loved seeing the whole idea that and Dick and Corey have such a great relationship. The four of them, and spoilers, you know, you're going to talk about this, but this is the first time I'd seen the previews, but there was, I think we were a team, and I think it's very clear they are a team.
Yes.
And the thing is just so well done.
Whether Dick Grayson sees it that way or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how about you?
Well,
what did you think?
Now, we go back to the when Dick watches his costume burn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I talked previously that I thought that the end of the previous episode where Dick tells Corey that no Robins are coming back.
Yes.
That I thought we had seen the last of the Robin costume. Obviously, I was wrong, because here it is one more time. But presumably, now that it's been burned in the fire, presumably we're finally seeing the last of Dick Grayson as Robin. And that's not really by choice at first, because he's put into his Robin costume. And at least in his mind or whatever. And then here, like you mentioned the puddle, where he sees his reflection, and that causes it, and he kind of like kicks it a little bit to cause the water to shimmer so that the image disappears, like as a metaphor. And then at the end of the episode, which I thought was really good, because he was standing there watching his costume burn, and he's holding his domino mask in his hand. And then Corey tells him, well, hey, we need to go. And he takes one last look at it, and then tosses it in the fire, the domino mask. So he's officially saying goodbye. And so we'll see how he comes out. And the fact that you're using fire as a theme, because fire is that kind of almost like that cleansing, that purifying, and where you're kind of getting rid of the past. And that's what Dick was doing here. He was getting rid of his past, watching it burn, and so that he could come out maybe like a phoenix on the other side as something else. And obviously we know he's going to be Nightwing, but at the moment, he's just right now he's going to be looking for who he wants to become at this point.
Absolutely.
So hopefully he's going to be leaving a lot of this baggage as a result of these past two episodes behind, and having a much more traditional outlook on life, hopefully.
Yes.
We'll see where he goes going forward. That's the way I took it.
No, I agree.
And with Corey, she's getting – her stomach was cut open during that whole operation table scene, and I kind of wondered, like, well, are they putting something in her, or was that just just trying to see how fast she would heal? And I think it was more like how fast she would heal.
Yeah, I agree.
And then she had that tube down her throat, which brought back some unpleasant memories for me because of
I bet.
having when I was with my colon erupting and going all explode. I had one of those big long tubes down my throat, and it's not very pleasant, needless to say.
Yeah.
But it was just brought back some squeamish memories. Just like, I totally feel for her there. And honestly, she was feeling the need for some payback as well. So when Dick and Corey kind of looked at each other, and she's just like, okay, we need to, like, this needs to end.
Yeah.
And they kind of have this mutual agreement looking at one another, and she sets the place afire. Now, hopefully everybody got out, because otherwise Corey's a mass murderer. But at this point, I don't think they cared.
No, I do not think she does care. And I can't.
That's one thing that isn't really addressed about whether
yes.
everybody got out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just I hate to think that as angry as she was, that letting all those people die, but oh well. Now, one thing I thought was interesting when Dick was giving that serious beat down on those guards, if you notice, he wasn't as, I don't want to say sadistic, but just over the top with gratuitous violence like he was before.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, he's fought forcefully, but it wasn't just like, okay, I'm not going to carve these guys up just to carve these guys up. I'm just going to unload and take them out and get this rage out, but I'm not going to go any farther than that. And then hopefully this is a good indicator that, yeah, he's stepping back from that excessive violence that we've criticized up till now.
Yeah, it was violent.
Right.
And
or the showrunners perhaps are taking a step back, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see. All right. Anything else about these two characters before we move on?
Nope. I was, like I said, very liked it a lot, and kind of, looking forward to seeing where we go next. I was really disappointed that this episode had ended.
Right. Now, obviously, we've got some episodes to go before the season finale.
Yes.
So we'll see how Dick Grayson, how he does without his Robin identity going forward.
Yes.
All right. Third topic I want to talk about is The Man Who Laughs, which is a graphic novel by Ed Brubaker, who's notable for things like Fatale or Criminal, and also wrote a great run on Gotham Central and some issues of Batman comics and whatnot. Great crime writer. And he was paired with artist Doug Mankey in this graphic novel, which kind of centers around the Joker, but also deals a lot with Arkham Asylum. So that's why I mentioned that.
Okay.
So this is referring mostly to Dr. Adamson. And so I want to talk about him, but I also want to talk about Angela, Raven's mother, in this topic. So Dr. Adamson, as we start off the episode, he is still kind of kept in this shower stall. And
yes,
he's kind of like because it's a shower stall, it's a glass shower stall, so it's kind of like has that kind of glass cage look to it. And he's not wanting to talk to anybody but Rachel. And so there's this kind of debate, and Rachel ends up talking to him. So I want to get your thoughts on Dr. Adamson and ultimately how he pushes Rachel a little too far, as it turns out in this episode, and the secrets that he reveals that leads Rachel to her mother at long last. What do you think about that?
So I was very unhappy that Dick had her talk to him. I just didn't want that to happen. I just
he started off being resistant to it.
Yes,
but they talked him into it.
So, and I understand why. I just was really worried about that.
I don't get why he had to talk to her alone. Why couldn't they just go
exactly.
in with her?
And why give him that power?
Yeah.
I
okay, you want to talk to her? Here she is, but we're right here with her.
Uh-huh.
So go for it.
Though it did set up a great scene of him trusting that she could save him.
Right.
He cuts his throat.
Were you shocked by that? The fact
I was a little bit.
He took this bathtub thermometer to kind of cut his own throat.
But then
that's an ultimate test of faith right there. Whether you're willing to okay, I'm betting on the fact that you can heal me, so I'm going to kill myself. We'll see if I'm right.
And then when she says, "I take it back," wow, that was just all of a sudden.
It's like awkward.
Ooh,
that awkward moment when Raven takes away the healing that she gave to you when you cut your own throat.
Yeah, so that was wonderful. Though in a violent way, but it could not happen to
it was very fitting.
More deserving guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he obviously had it coming, but.
And did you understand necessarily what was she showing some kind of birthmark on her back because it was so dark.
It's like a tattoo. It's a raven. Okay. Yeah, basically what Rachel has is this raven tattoo on her shoulder, and that she was showing her mother this to identify it. Like, see, it's really me.
Yeah, I couldn't see that in the dark. I assumed that's what it was.
Yeah, it was a raven tattoo.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I also thought
because they've referred to her in this kind of prophecy terms as the Raven.
But isn't she couldn't that have been faked? Why was that enough reason that her mom went, "Oh, it's my darling daughter"?
Well, well, they did maybe have that comment where Beast Boy tells her "Hey, look, mothers tend to know their progeny."
Yeah, absolutely. So, I understand it.
So it was kind of well, yeah, okay, you have this tattoo, but the question is well, maybe she figured, well, I didn't expect you to have that tattoo, so okay, I guess I never told you about this tattoo, so you know about it, so you must be her.
Yeah. Or
maybe she's just really desperate to believe at this point.
Could be, yeah. But I was really happy with it.
And then she's trying. I like the Angela's reactions after Dick beats up those guys. She's just like, okay, who are these people that my daughter's associating with?
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Well,
It's like, I don't think this is safe.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
But it was, I love that they got out of there.
Right.
I love that Rachel, when Dick is passed out, she says, "You promised you never would leave me." And that kind of is one of the reasons he heard. Right. I thought that was a nice moment.
That was. Yeah, we didn't really talk about that, but yeah, you're right. When she has to talk him out of his kind of drugged out stupor.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I did make that promise." Right.
Yeah, which was great.
That was good. Now, Adamson, I thought one of the things I thought was interesting is that they go through all this and they still haven't mentioned Trigon at all.
No.
They've gone out of their way to keep that secret. Although it's not really much of a secret if you read the comics or know anything.
Right.
Or watch the animated series that you know that Trigon is Raven's father.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're going out of their way to kind of keep that secret from the Titans, I think, which is interesting. That the characters still don't know much if at all about Raven's father. So the question is, what's going to happen now?
It is going to be.
It's going to have to. Presumably, that mystery is going to be carried through Angela, as we find out more about her, and that presumably will lead us to the ultimate confrontation with Trigon. I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious why she's using the last name Azarath.
Yes.
Because now as Jesse and I know from Titans comics, Azarath is this kind of other dimensional world where the kind of students of this religious figure Azar, this kind of religious order that battle against Trigon's evil, and that's where they reside. So I'm kind of curious of if we're gonna do you think maybe we'll see Azarath, or do you think they'll go that far, or do you think it's going to be more on an earthly plane?
Yeah, I think that was an earthly plane, and that was just kind of internal shout out to those of us
like a little in joke.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of Easter egg, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think? What do you think will happen with Angela and Rachel's relationship moving forward? Do you think Angela will end up spilling the beans, or do you think that there'll be other dark forces going after them?
I keep thinking, I'm not sure what they're going to do. How supernatural are they going to make Trigon?
Mm-hmm.
I
know we don't know, because obviously with budget constraints and whatnot, we don't know how we know how far we want them to take this, but the question is, how far are they going to go forward?
Yeah, and I'm okay.
Maybe we'll see something like a compromise. Like we'll go a little bit, but we won't go too far.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. But I'm just kind of curious I don't expect a full, as much as I would love it. You probably have to do this in a big budget motion picture to get the full Trigon saga that we want.
Yeah.
But so I'm sure it's going to be scaled down for a TV budget, especially a DC Universe TV budget.
Yeah, and I think
but we'll see where it goes going forward.
Yeah, I think so. Because you can compromise and still make it a good story town.
Right.
A good story. So we'll see what happens.
We don't know how far the organization reaches. Was this just like one cell of it, or was this it? Like, now that the asylum's burned down, is that it? Is the threat completely over, or what?
And I would not think it over. I think you still have to worry.
Yeah.
Because, and I also thought it was kind of weird that, the idea, just call your father. Just call your father. It shouldn't be that easy to bring this in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was essentially Adamson's goal. Like, look, we want to reunite you with your father.
Right.
And Adamson was talking about how he wanted Raven was going to heal the world.
Yeah.
So whatever that means.
Yes.
So anyway, I guess we'll find out going forward. So we still have some more questions. All right. Anything else about this episode before we move on?
No, I thought it was it was a little slow with the like I said, I didn't particularly like the flashback scene, the internal thing, but very minor nitpick, and just really happy. And toward the end of it, I was like, oh, come on.
This is pretty much mostly a bottle episode where you had the characters in just one area, and the scope wasn't like all over the place.
Yeah, and bottle episodes don't bother me if they're well done, and I felt like this one was well done.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. All right. So, do you have any favorite quotes of the episode?
I did not catch any favorite quotes. I'm sure, as always, you always do. So please share.
Yeah. Now there was only a few that I caught this time, because most of the time we see the Titans being tortured, and not really having anything really like big long speeches in this episode. They're just more like, okay, I'm gonna they're fighting bad guys or resisting against the torture or what have you. But there were a few lines that I thought were good. There was an early exchange between Dick and Corey where they're talking about Dr. Adamson, about whether Rachel should go talk to him. And Dick says, "I don't trust him." And Corey replies, "What's not to trust? The man's tied up. One word from Rachel and I'll walk in and put my foot through his face." So that was good. The exchange that we talked about earlier between Gar and Rachel, where he says, "If I had even the slightest chance of getting my mom back, there's nothing I wouldn't do." And Rachel replies, "But you said," and Gar replies, "Yeah, I lied. I just said what they wanted to hear. You get pretty good at that when you live with Dr. Calder. If you agree with people, they tend to leave you alone." So again, that's a very cynical outlook, but understandable given Beast Boy's interactions with the chief, I think.
And he is. I got to give a shout out to
Ryan Potter.
Yeah, all the actors on this show. They are really bringing it. We've talked about Tegan Croft a lot. I think she's amazing at Rachel. Anna Dopp is having to fight through the worst costume ever.
Right.
But she continues to just amaze me. I love her as Corey.
Yeah.
And
as a side note, Lori is really annoyed with Corey's big shiny pants that just billow everywhere. She's very annoyed with this. She's just like, why does she get such ridiculous clothes?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And so
it's like, tone it down a little.
And I think
it's like, unless you're getting a superhero costume, tone it down a little.
Yeah, and I think if you I think the frizzied colored hair is enough that would give you enough of a look.
Yeah.
And Ryan Potter has just been wonderful as Gar Logan. I mean, he is playing a much younger self.
Right.
Then he comes across much younger than he is in real life.
Right.
Just the four of them have just solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The way he's being written, Ryan Potter, since you brought it up, is that he has this, he has to play this kind of, I'm just the eager goofball kid, but there's this serious side to him that tends to come out more when he's around Raven. It's like Raven's the only one he really shows his true self around.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. All right.
I
had one more last quote. It's between Rachel and Gar again, where they're talking in the car and when they get riding in the Uber. And Rachel says, "I wonder if she'll even recognize me." And Gar's like, "Mothers always do. It's like with animals. Mother wolves always know their offspring by their scent." And Rachel kind of looks at him a little cockeyed. And she goes, "Are you saying I smell?" And Gar gestures, just a little bit,
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cute. That was a cute scene.
Yeah.
So, I really like the interaction between those two characters. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So what's your rating for this episode?
I'm going to give it 8.5 burning robin costumes.
Ooh. Very nice. Very nice. I was actually a little lower than you on this one. I thought this one was okay. It definitely advanced some story points, but I just thought it was a little too self-contained, this episode. So I give it 8. I was going to give it 8 flambéed robin suits, but you took mine, so that's all right. I'll give it 8 broken tub thermometers.
Nice. Very nice.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just was going to say, I loved how it set it up. I loved I think this is a turning point in young Dick Grayson's journey to his new self. So yeah, I liked it a lot. I was really, I was pumped at the end of the episode. So just very, very excited about.
I think there's a reason. I think there's reason to be hopeful here.
Yes, absolutely.
About where Dick's character is going to go and where the team is going to go, I think, at the end of this episode.
I agree.
So we'll see. So I don't have any Titans Tower news.
Okay.
But we do have a email, once again, from DJ Nick in Italy. So DJ Nick from Milan, Italy, writes in. He goes, he's writing about the Jason Todd episode we talked about last time. So he says, "Hey guys, yet another stellar episode. It looks like the quality of this show just won't quit, fingers crossed. I'm also wondering whether we will see Mr. Todd again and whether he will meet his fated end and rebirth as Red Hood." Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I talked about that maybe Jason would get killed in a death in the family, like in that storyline, and then replaced with Tim Drake. But later on, obviously Jason becomes the Red Hood after he's brought back to life. In the comics, I found the ultra-violence displayed by Jason to be very much true to why comic fans so hated him. And I'm hoping that this style of series will act as a benchmark for future DC series. Cannot wait to see where all this will go and what the seasonal climax will be. And then DJ Nick adds, "Look forward to joining you guys to share thoughts and comments once episode 12 is in the can. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Ciao, my people. DJ Nick." So ciao right back to you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
And always looking forward to that, and definitely looking forward to when we kind of do our season 1 wrap up. Hopefully chatting with you. That should be fun.
I think it should be a lot of fun.
Because you sound like a very enthusiastic listener. And
I love it.
And definitely looking forward to that. Jesse, if you want to, how about if anybody wants to write in like DJ Nick? Do you want to tell people where they can find us, or do you want me to?
You can.
I'm
never ready to go.
You're never ready.
I'm never ready.
How many podcasts have we done? You should have this like right there. All right. Everybody, if you want to be like DJ Nick, you can write to us at titantalkcast@gmail.com. That's titantalkcast@gmail.com. Don't forget the Gmail. And or you can reach us on Twitter at TitanTalkCast. That's at Titan Talkcast on Twitter. Or Facebook, of course, the Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. We'd love to have you like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. That helps grow our little community. We definitely appreciate that. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show, what we should be doing, stuff you'd like for us to talk in the off season. That would be great. And other than that, Jesse, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Well, I can be reached at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter.
Right.
I am on Facebook at Jesse Jackson in Louisville, Texas.
Right.
You can hear me talk about Doctor Who with a certain Titan talker.
Yes.
Charles Skaggs, and the lovely and talented Karen Lindsay on Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast.
And fingers crossed we have everybody in for tomorrow's recording. Fingers crossed.
I am hoping.
Yeah, hopefully you'll be feeling better.
Job. Yes.
Yeah.
And work will not be crazy.
Yeah.
And you can hear me talk about music, and specifically Bruce Springsteen on Set Lusting Bruce. And Charles, where can they hear and read more of your fine work?
Well, everybody, if you'd like to follow me on Facebook and Twitter, you can reach me on the Twitter machine at Charles Skaggs and also at Charles Skaggs on Instagram. So at Charles Skaggs on Twitter, at Charles Skaggs on Instagram, or Facebook, of course, Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio. Would definitely appreciate that. Or you can reach me really, on my blog of Geeky Things.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn good coffee and hot, where I talk about all the things we talk about here on Titan Talk. Titans, all the other DC Universe shows, and news of my other podcasts they do for Southgate Media, including the aforementioned Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, which I hear is a really great podcast.
It is great.
And with no small self-promotion there. Also, the Phantom Zone podcast they do with friend of the show, Karen Lindsay. and hopefully we'll get that back on track. And then Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast that I do with Zan Sprouse, wife of comic book artist Chris Sprouse, where we talk about all things Twin Peaks, David Lynch, etc. So obviously I have a lot of diverse interests, many of which are on Damn Good Coffee, including all kinds of comic book, sci-fi news. So if you want to check that out, I definitely appreciate it and hope you enjoy it. If not anything else, it's helps keep track of all the podcasts they do. And you can find all the links for Jesse and my shows that we do together. So check that out if you would. Other than that, if you want to go to Apple iTunes, I forgot to mention this. If you want to go to Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts and rate and review Titan Talk, the Titans podcast, we would definitely appreciate that because that helps people find us as well.
Yes, we need some reviews.
Yep.
We would really appreciate that.
Yep, definitely. And just let us know what you think. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And we're doing our best to try to make the show as better with every episode as we can.
Yes.
All right.
So what's happening next week when we sit down to talk?
Yes, next time on Titan Talk, we're going to talk about a little episode called Donna Troy. At last. Yes. You know, I'll do a little dramatic sting here. So, all right. So yeah, we're going to talk about Donna Troy. I'm very excited about this. This will be Titans episode 8 of season 1. And this features the debut of Connor Leslie as Donna Troy. And as you've seen by the trailer, I think she's going to be great. What do you think?
Yeah, I really like her. She had a small part in a Wheels Off TV series called Graves.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, it was a Cinemax series with the Nick Nolte playing a former president who decided, kind of a Reaganish character that decided all the things he did as a conservative he now didn't like.
Right.
Was
she good on that?
She was really good in that.
Okay.
She looks perfect.
Yeah.
From
in the trailer
previews,
that we've seen.
Yes.
Yeah. She has the long Donna hair, and she's got this kind of black sweater thing going on, and I really like that. Now, the synopsis that we're given for this episode is simply, as the Titans go their separate ways, Dick turns to an old friend, Donna Troy, for answers. And definitely looking forward to this. We've seen some pictures of Donna doing some photography and some stills shots. And so we'll see. Apparently she's going to be helping with the investigation. And as we learned from the trailer, she kind of gives Dick some background on Corey, which I'm finding intriguing.
Yeah, it was. And the preview showed a little bit of acrobatics. It looks
like Donna definitely already has her powers because she leapt over a truck or something in an alleyway, and Dick is just amazed. And I'm looking forward to this. So she'll call him
Absolutely.
He'll call her Wonder Girl presumably, and she calls him Boy Wonder. And,
that's and I will smile. Big smiles.
Yeah, exactly. So Jesse and I, as old school Titans fans. We're definitely looking forward to this. Obviously, with my wife, because Donna Troy is her all-time favorite character. So this is going to be a do or die for Titans. So hopefully she likes Donna. And
absolutely. Fingers
crossed, everybody, because that would definitely make for an easier household watching Titans going forward.
So, how does she feel? How is kind of mid-season? How is she? Because she wasn't a big fan to begin with. Has she stuck with it?
She's stuck with it. She's watched all the episodes, so she hasn't given up on it. It's not like I've had to watch it by myself.
Okay.
She thinks it's okay.
Okay.
So we've gotten to the okay stage. So I'll take that at the moment.
Absolutely.
Considering where we started.
Yes.
I think that's a step up. So hopefully the Donna Troy episode will definitely win her over. So we'll hope.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and definitely looking forward to it. And if you're a Donna Troy fan, and I'm sure Donna has a lot of fans out there.
Oh yeah.
This is going to be a big deal, and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from Connor Leslie. So hopefully that continues. So
I agree.
All right, so everybody, come on back next week, episode 15 of Titan Talk. It's going to be a big one. Donna Troy. And thank you again, Jesse, for co-hosting Titan Talk with me.
Thank you, Charles.
As always, you're the best co-host to talk to.
Well,
and everybody,
right back at you, buddy.
Yep. So everybody come on back, and we will see you next time right here on Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. Goodbye, everybody.